What's going on, y'all? It's the Caveman back at it again with another video, and this time I want to dabble in some NBA news that just went down last night. So a quick disclaimer, I'm not the biggest basketball junkie. I don't know everything there is to know about basketball. I can't tell you a stat of a player just off the top of my head, unless it's like LeBron James. I'm not really going to be able to help you out on every single player that's been drafted in every year. I'm not the big junkie is what I'm trying to get at, but I have done content on this channel about basketball before. But I do tend to try and stray away from it just for the simple fact that I have much more extensive knowledge when it comes to hockey and football. I figured, this trade was pretty significant and I wanted to just, kind of touch on it and put my 2 cents in. And I know that my knowledge, although not as extensive as the next guy, can still be put in without sounding like an absolute idiot. So the trade that I am talking about is between the Washington Wizards and the Houston Rockets. The Washington Wizards received Russell Westbrook. In return, they gave away to the Houston Rockets John Wall, and a first-round pick. So let's look at the Washington Wizards side of the trade. They received Russell Westbrook, who I believe is not going to help them in the slightest. Now, why is this? I believe Russell Westbrook, throughout his entire career, has been an athletic freak of nature that has just been running around and getting away as a basketball player. And now that he's getting a little bit older, his athletic ability isn't going to be able to carry him the same way it used to. And we saw that in Houston. And now his basketball ability, which is not as high as his athletic ability, is definitely starting to show and show for the worst. So I'm not sure how Russell Westbrook playing with James Harden as bad as he did is going to be any different than playing with Bradley Beal. And I'm assuming it's going to be even worse. So I'm not sure why Washington was even interested. I know that it's just going to be, we're going to be seeing the same Russell Westbrook we saw in Houston, if not worse. But even when Russell Westbrook was very good over in OKC, I never saw him as a good team player. He's always been for himself. He always cared about the numbers that went next to his name and not next to the team's name. And I mean, the guy could put up stats at will when he was in his prime. The dude would literally just go out in the court and drop 20, 20, 20 like it was nothing. But, I mean, you just never saw playoff success, and that was because Russell Westbrook was nothing more than a stat-padding ball hog. So, Washington, I'm just going to say it right off the bat, if you couldn't get the hint, you lost this trade hands down. So, let's look at the flip side of the trade. James Harden received John Wall. Yeah, it's basically James Harden. James Harden was who wanted John Wall, and he received John Wall and a first-round pick. Now, how does this help Houston? I only think it helps Houston because there is hope in John Wall. People have been saying that John Wall and Russell Westbrook are basically the same player, which I slightly disagree with because John Wall, in my opinion, when he was healthy, was more of a distributor. He's definitely more of a team player than Russell Westbrook was. He might not have all the numbers compared to Westbrook, but that's because he's been more of a team player, in my personal opinion. I get where the comparisons are drawn, but I just simply see John Wall being a player that benefits James Harden more than Russell Westbrook does. But that's not even the whole risk factor of the trade. John Wall has been dealing with an Achilles injury for the past 2 years. Now, we don't even know if he's going to be able to come back and play the same way he used to. And that's the big risk here. Houston basically said, here, you take Russell Westbrook, who's not helping us, and we'll take a chance in a guy that can help us win a championship in John Wall if he's able to get healthy. Now, this trade is very dependent on John Wall's health. If he is able to get healthy and is able to become the player he was before, then yes, Houston wins this trade hands down. That's the big if here. I mean, John Wall is, like I said, a very good player, but players usually don't come back from an injury like that and play the same way they used to. It's very, very rare that they do. I mean, even Kobe Bryant, when he came back from his very large injury, he still was performing at a very great level, but just not as good as he once was playing. At the end of the day, looking at the grand scheme of things, even if John Wall comes back and is able to play at that same level he used to play at, he does not help Houston win a championship because they're not getting past the Lakers. In my opinion, what Houston should be doing is trading away James Harden, getting all the value they can at the level he's playing at, which is out of this world level. He's playing outstanding. Give him away to a different contender, get all the value you can get out of him, and just start from the beginning, because no matter who you put next to James Harden, you're not going to win. We have seen countless superstars play next to James Harden between Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, and now John Wall, and none of them have had success with him. So I think, clinging on to this hope and winning a championship with James Harden in your franchise is just slipping and slipping away. And I think, the value is at its peak right now for James Harden. And just to waste him the way you are and in hoping that he's going to bring you home a championship is just wasting your time, wasting his time. And honestly, to be frank with you, nobody wins this trade at the end of the day. There's a report that came out that said, I think I mentioned it earlier, that Russell Westbrook actually wanted to go to the Wizards and that James Harden actually preferred John Wall over Russell Westbrook. Now, maybe that is what sparked the trade, that there was this mutual interest between players. And, in my opinion, that's been the problem with basketball this entire time, is the players run the league. They decide where they want to, all the best players decide where they want to play, what they want to do, and that's always been my biggest issue with the NBA. And this is just another case of it. Just in this case, it helps absolutely nobody, not even the players involved, because James Harden, unless he has LeBron James next to him, is not going to win a championship. So let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know what you think of my thoughts. I want to know your thoughts down below as well. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Maybe I'll dabble in some more NBA stuff as it releases. But the NBA season actually does start relatively soon, so I might die down on the content a little bit unless a big trade goes down. But nevertheless, I'll be pumping out more videos as the week goes on. I'll see y'all later. Peace.